Markets on a tear today as traders shake off more fears about the impact of a trade war in China. And that trade war was front and center as Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin testified today on Capitol Hill. Watch it.
If we find ourselves mired in a full-fledged global trade war with no end in sight, all of the economic gains he has helped bring us may well be lost. Just because other nations punish their consumers with tariffs doesn't mean we should necessarily follow suit.
The president is very focused on free and fair trade. As you mentioned, at the G7, the president specifically said, let's sign a free trade agreement with no tariffs, no barriers, no subsidies. So the president is very much focused, fighting every day on having free and fair trade.
Right. I mean, free trade is fair if you've actually got free trade. Well, yesterday, the Senate overwhelmingly adopted a non-binding resolution to curb the powers of President Trump to impose tariffs in the name of national security. So joining me right now is Republican Congressman Mark Wayne Mullen of Oklahoma with his reaction to that. Representative, what do you think of what the Senate's doing?
Well, Trish, first, thanks for having me on. And I think the Senate's wrong on this. The Senate had more than enough time. They've had a few decades here to change this. Since '95, we've been working underneath the WTO, and they could have made changes to it till then. And what we've seen is since that time, our trade deficit has grown, and the Senate hasn't been able to act. So I applaud the president for putting America first and looking at the country as a whole.
Why wouldn't the Senate want this? I mean, it is actually a matter of national security. When you're talking about our technology, our intellectual property that is repeatedly stolen, and if the only thing that we can use really is tariffs to get them to wake up and pay attention, and I'm a big believer in that, because I say use all the economic power you possibly can before you ever resort to anything else. So if we have this economic power and they want to hinder the president's ability to use it, why would that be?
Well, I don't think they're wanting to hinder his ability. They don't want to relinquish, as they consider, power. Each senator is only responsible for their state, obviously, and that's where their interest should be. But the president his interest is over all 50 states. So they have a tendency, and we all do, all of us elected officials have a tendency to have a narrow focus. We're looking after our backyards. The president's responsibility is the entire country. And so that's why I believe the Senate is wrong on trying to rescind some of these powers. Because as I said before, Trish, they've had an opportunity to already fix this, and they were unable to act.
You know, Representative, I'm going to go one step further. I'd like your reaction to this. I worry it's not just sort of myopic thinking about their own state. It's also very short-sighted thinking and may actually be influenced by campaign funds. I mean, if you think about the big companies and the big CEOs that are helping to promote these people in their campaigns, I just wonder if they're getting a few too many phone calls from a few too many higher ups saying you can't have this. And you know why none of those companies want it? Because they care about their bottom line for the quarter or for the year. They don't think about it 5, 10, 30 years out. And strategically, as a country, we ought to be. Someone's got to.
Trish, you're absolutely right. I agree with that. But that doesn't mean the companies are wrong. The company is responsible for their bottom line, and they're responsible for their employees. And it doesn't mean the senator is wrong either, because the senator is responsible for his constituents too, or any elected official. But that's why the president at this point is the best one to handle this. And he's proven himself to be a master negotiator. We can see that people are better off right now. We see what's happening in the markets. We see what's happening in the job markets. We see the average pay raising. By the end of the year, we're supposed to be hitting 8.5 million jobs created. So evidently, what the president is doing is extremely and highly effective.
I hope we see a 5 handle on that GDP soon. Thank you so much, Congressman.
Thank you,
Mullen.
Trish.